Welcome everybody back to the Dave Knows Comics live stream watch party. Stuck at home watching stuff. If you're fortunate enough to be able to watch stuff. If not, well, I don't know what you're doing to fill the time. Me, on the other hand, still going stir crazy, still getting bored, but figure why not come along and watch with you guys. Oh, second, just making sure volume is muted so we don't get that feedback. Alright, so here we go. Give everybody a second to file in. Glad that you're here, degenerate. You the man. Hopefully everything's going on. Raw the Reflex, my man. Tonight's gonna be good, you think? Davey boy, that be me. Now, just in case you guys were wondering, don't worry, I will be going on for a watch along with Monday Night Raw later on tonight. We'll be doing it. Dale, good to see you as always. So I will be doing a watch along with Raw, at least that's the plan as of now. But yeah, so I should be able to do a watch along with Raw, but getting kind of buggy. Was kind of hoping to come on last night for the live stream. For the comic book for another watch along, since I had a lot of fun the other day, keeping it real with you guys, watching TV with you guys, getting something to do. But yesterday I just slept like all day. Oh, okay, we got one vote for Big Blue Attack. So, in case you are not familiar, the rules for this are simple. We're going to watch something on the TV. We're going to choose something, and we're going to queue it up together. And we're just going to sit here and watch and, break it down. Last time, I was forced to watch Spider-Man 3. This time, let's see what you can do. So, if it's something digitally that I have, or something that's on Netflix, maybe in YouTube. I have both of those movies, so there are both options. Let's see what some other guys are. Oh, and thank you for the like. And just so you know, this is the gaudiest thing I own. We talked about it last time. I have my really loud Spider-Man shirt that I wore on the live stream last time. I guess that's the reason why I watched Spider-Man 3. But this time we have this. Now, it's not all suited up yet, so is Batman Begins on Netflix? If it is, then we'll just watch on Netflix, make life easier. I have it either way. I'm not voting, just suggesting. That's okay. We'll chime in whichever one we want. So for 2 votes for Batman Begins, I love that movie. So if we could get another vote, let's just go ahead and go for it. But yeah, so this is the gaudiest thing I own, and we'll wear it in a moment, so some of you guys might be able to figure out what this is, but its true hideousness is yet to be completely revealed. But I will wear it. I will go full regalia momentarily. Hey Dave, yes, Batman Begins is on Netflix. Good. Okay, so 2 votes for, or 2 people have mentioned. So 2 for Batman '89, and then 2 for Batman Begins. Ooh, Nigel Riddler. Well, hey, with a name like Riddler, your vote is definitely pretty strong here. So let's see what else we got. So 2 votes for Batman '89, or 2, not a vote, a suggestion. 2 suggestions for Batman '89, 2 for Batman Begins. Let's see who comes in next. We can watch The Shadow of the Phantom, or Flash Gordon, or Tank Girl. All those on Netflix? Man, that'd be interesting. Obscure. But yes. So yeah, what comic book movie you guys want? Let's see who's on next, who's going to vote next, or who's going to suggest next. Robert Flex says, I just got so bored that I created and inked a Violent Storm. My take on If Batman Who Last happened to Storm. Whoa, that is cool. How about the Karate Kid? Nah, the comic book thing. Even though there was a Karate Kid comic book. I'm not opposed to that 100%, but let's try to stick with the comic book thing. Okay, so Big Blue Attack, Batman Begins is removing on April 1st. Oh, so yeah, now's the time. With the DC app and also with Disney Plus, I'm surprised there's any comic book stuff still on. But yeah, okay, so still 2. Let's see if anybody else got a suggestion. Oh, and then of course we have the suggestions of The Shadow, The Phantom, Flash Gordon, and Tank Girl. I actually never saw The Shadow. I saw The Phantom, barely remember anything about it. Flash Gordon, when I was a little kid. Tank Girl, barely remember it, same thing. So alright, Bally, you saved the day, Dave. You make one of your non-cringy comic book live streams. Do I have cringy ones? Just Midnight Edges live stream. Oh. I would rather rewatch Batman '89. I haven't seen that in a while. I just got it actually before all this happened. It was on sale a while ago, and they're giving too much attention to this non-canon Gotham High graphic novel and acting as if it's going. Yeah, well, that's what they do. I mean, right now everything's at a standstill. I don't think Attack on Titan don't have it. And never saw it. Come on, guys. Yeah, so hey, Double A. I thought you weren't voting. I thought you were just suggesting. Okay, 2 likes. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, Dave. I know this is Comic Book Channel. If I kind of a wrestling question, and that's about it. If you have one wrestling question, yeah, sure, that's not the end of the world. Ooh, Into the Spider-Verse, not a bad one. What are we watching? Still deciding, Harry Flynn. So if we already had 2 votes for Batman Begins, 2 votes for Batman '89, and then 1 vote for The Shadow, the Phantom, Tanker, and Flash Gordon. Ideally something on Netflix so that way we can all watch. I do own a bunch of things digitally so I can watch them if it's not on Netflix, but yeah. So let's see what's going on. What are you watching? Into the Spider-Verse is Bally. Into the Spider-Verse is Ron Hawthorne. So 2 for Into the Spider-Verse. 1 for Endgame. Alright, let's see what you guys got. It's hard to keep track, but yeah, let's see if anybody can get 3. What if the votes are tied? Well, so far we're tied 2 and 2 for Batman and Into the Spider-Verse and the other Batman, so we're going to have to just get a tiebreaker, like we did last time. See if somebody can break this tie, see if we could get the 3 for 1 thing, whatever 3 gets up. As I said, ideally something on Netflix. If not, I do own a bunch of things digitally, and we'll just watch it there. Hopefully it's something I do own. Spider-Man 2. Ooh, Double A switches gears with Spider-Man 2. Or we could watch the Brandon Lee Crow. Surprisingly, I don't have that. So if that's on Netflix, it's there. All right. So okay. So unless the Crow's on Netflix, I don't have it. Surprisingly, I don't have it. And I only saw that movie once, which, believe it or not. Okay. Well, was Edge ever really a draw at any time in his career? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. And people are talking about his drawing ability for his comeback. As I pointed out, Daniel Bryan's comeback drew better ratings than on SmackDown than Reg's did on Raw. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Edge really isn't a draw. He's one of those guys that kept promoting and made you think he was, but he really isn't. But, you know, that's what I see on paper. Anyway, we'll be more than happy to bring this to the forum in a couple hours when we go over to Wrestling Live Stream. I think we should re-vote in a while. Okay, so let's get it up. Cast your votes now. What comic book movie would you like me to watch today? I'm happy with superhero movies as long as it's not Amazing Spider-Man. That is definitely something I'm okay with, too. And since I don't have them, it's going to be hard. Okay, so Big Blue Attack says Batman Begins again. The Edge has the highest rated segment. In what? He was a draw one time when he beat Cena and became the R-rated superstar. It's not the highest rating. If you're talking about the live sex celebration, that's not the highest rated segment. It's a rated segment. It's a thing something happened, but what's the highest? Draw 1. He was a draw. If you have one time, that doesn't make you a draw. If you pull numbers once, that doesn't make you a draw, or like a couple of times. Like, you have to look at the totality of this person with company. That's what we guess. Logan. Okay. Double A's changing his vote to Logan. Ron Hawthorne maintains Spider-Verse. Superman the movie says Bally. Okay. You know, a blind squirrel finds a nut. A broken clock's right twice a day. Pick whichever cliche you want. The point of the matter is when it comes to sustainable drawing ability, you really got to look at the totality and the numbers and the merch sales and the yada, yada, yada. And when you look at all those things in totality, that's when you get the idea. Arthur Pryor, blah, 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 comic book, blah, blah, blah. Actually, Arthur, we were just talking wrestling. But whatever. Look up. Oh, yes. One hit. A violent storm used Xavier's wheelchair as a lightning rod. Jeez, that is lethal. And yes, there was the X-Men Forever book where Storm did electrocute Wolverine kaplooey and full-blown heel Storm, bad Storm. It was an interesting book. Like, X-Men Forever was a lot of fun because it was like just an alternate take where it was going to go as long as it was going to go. There was no parameters, nothing he couldn't do. So it was Chris Claremont just writing whatever he wanted to write. So he got rid of Wolverine, Storm went evil, Sabretooth took over on the team. He made it canonically that Sabretooth and Wolverine were father and son. Sabretooth was the father, Wolverine was the son. And, you know, they made a lot of cool decisions there. Romantically paired Gambit up with Kitty Pryde, which I thought was an odd musing, but a lot of interesting things. Dale's official vote are still for the Crow. I would compromise and vote for the original Transformers animated movie. I definitely don't have that. That's another thing would have to be on Netflix. Was Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies were good, or am I blinded by my childhood? I think the second one still holds up. I think 2 is still good. 3 was never good. 1, it was always it was good for its time. I don't think it holds up. I think it's kind of cheesy, which I know is Patty Jenkins, like a word that doesn't exist in her vocabulary, which I respect and appreciate. However, it's still watchable. I can still watch the first one, but I don't. It was like non-cheesy for its time. It was going to the next level for a comic book movie of that era. But now comic book movies have gone so far in a different direction. It's not even, you can't even keep up to it. Hey, what's up, Vinny? We're taking votes. Oh, Harry Flynn votes for Batman Begins. Hey, Dave, was The Rock, this is your last segment, rated Raw segment, or McFoley title win? Both were highly rated. Both drew a lot of numbers. But yeah, let's keep it with the comic book stuff for now, Ben Espinosa. I was asking one question, answering one question. Let's hold off for a couple hours until we go on to the wrestling one. All right, I think Chris Claremont put a bunch of FUs in that series. He most certainly did. In case you guys aren't familiar, Chris Claremont did tremendous work for the X-Men. Some of the biggest stories there were, he wrote for the X-Men. But then they eventually moved him off the book, and he never got to take things in the direction he wanted. So years later, they gave him this book called X-Men Forever. They gave him this title run and said, hey, do whatever you want, pick up from where you left off. And so it was like a hard reset on everything from where he last left off, and just took the story wherever he wanted. And he did whatever he felt like with it, because it wasn't like the main continuity. Bruce Campbell should have been in Spider-Man. Would have been nice. Batman Begin hasn't aged well for me. Oh, really? That's a shame, because I think it stands up perfectly. But, okay, so Batman Begins. Alright, come on, guys, get the voting in. We gotta get to 3. Somebody get to 3 something. Okay. Spider-Verse, Batman Begins. Batman Begins. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. So, let's see. Big Blue Attack and Harry. There's someone else for and Ben Espinosa. Yeah, Ben, are you re-voting for Batman Begins? Are you still? If you say Batman Begins, we've just clinched it, and that will be it, Ben. I will become like Wildstorm versus Marvel. They also there fought DC. Yes. How good were the Tobey Maguire movies? As I said, I think the second one's very good. What are we voting on? Which comic book movie should I watch today? Or right now? Batman Beyond. I do have TV shows. There are a couple of TV shows, cartoons that I have, so I could watch that. But all right, let's see. I can live with Batman Begins. Okay, Ron Hawthorne clinches the vote. Batman Begins. It is. Is this on Netflix? I hope so. If not, this is gonna be hard to do. Oh, Infinity Wars is still on Netflix. Craziness. In case you want to know why I'm stretching my arm out so hard, it's just because it's on this side. Whoa, Nick Gunn's now on Netflix. Ant-Man and the Wasp? Ooh, Ninja Turtles. I'm just looking at my list right now. I feel like I will find it sooner or later. I have Harlem Nights on this? I didn't even know that was on Netflix. Oh, man. I've been thinking about Glow a lot. Like, I kind of want to rewatch it. I haven't, but... No Bomba. Popeye, nice. Where is it? Where are you? It's gotta be here somewhere. Is it gone already? Oh, there it is. Okay. Alright, so Batman Begins, it is. Okay, so I got it all queued up. Which version of Popeye? The movie Popeye. I actually like that movie a lot. Okay, so we're going to be watching Batman Begins. I have it all queued up. I'll give everybody a second to catch up. Batman Begins. Get ready. Get ready. Haven't clicked start yet, but we will soon. No, he would... Degenerate, he would find something in a lab or whatever. Oh, before we begin, so I have it all queued up. We're going to get ready to watch it. So, as I said, last time I wore that Spider-Man shirt, and I said it's not the gaudiest, ugliest thing I own, comic book related. Today, this is. And in case you haven't seen its full glory yet, and you haven't figured it out, we're going to do this, and then we're going to play the movie. So, here it goes. As I said, I promised full regalia. This is the worst and most hideous thing there is. See? See how terrible this is? I wear this for you. This is probably the second time I've ever actually put this on. First time was in front of the. This was a gift, and I wore it, when I got it, just to wear it. But then I threw it in my closet. Okay, so is it on Netflix? It is. You just got to search for it. If you search, I didn't find it on the trending or anything like that, or even on my list. But if you search for it, you'll find Batman Begins. So just type in Batman, and it'll come up right up. Need Dave was right T-shirts. I like Dark Knight Rises more than Batman Begins. Interesting. Okay, so does everyone have it queued up? I'll give you guys a second to search a little bit, but yeah, just probably because I have a European version. Okay, controversial opinion. I like Dark Knight Rises the best. I don't think that's controversial. I think there are people. So okay, Batman Begins. Gonna get ready to queue it up. All right, gonna start. I'm gonna click go. Gonna hit the go button in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. This Warner Brothers intro. Yeah, the criticism's going to start already. It's not a bad thing, but it's that ripple effect with the Warner Brothers lot. The Warner Brothers has been doing it for years. I think it's an interesting logo or introduction. I found it interesting. Robin Williams really captured Popeye. Interesting. Because the comics that movie was more comic book accurate than a lot of people expected or understood. Like people were like, he doesn't like spinach in the beginning. How can he not like spinach? It's Popeye. And like if you read the comic books, in the beginning he only ate it to give himself strength, but he actually hated it. He didn't like it. He just ate it because he had to. Look at all the fluttering bats. I assume this is CGI. This movie I remember in theaters, but back to Batman. This movie. I never realized this. The first human shot you see is actually a little girl in a Batman movie. That's interesting. And I know you're limited by what you can do, but it's a minor thing. It's like, what can you do? But for me, it always drives me crazy when little kids playing like adults, they don't look anything like the guy, like them at all. You're like, this guy can never be that. That kid's not Christian Bale, and girl's not Katie Holmes. It's like I know child actors is hard to find, like quality children actors, and these kids do a great job. The young boy playing Bruce does a really good job later on too. Or even in Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford said that River Phoenix looked like him at that age. I was like, does he? I was like, if you say so. Um, well, too late. We're already watching Batman Begins. Dave, please tell me you're not wearing a Magneto onesie. No, it's not a onesie. It's a sweatshirt. Yeah, it was given to me as a gift. I don't know why, but it was given to me as a gift. Pop and his comic book movie, comic strip. I mean, I am hesitant to call it a comic book movie, but a comic strip, yeah. By the way, why did Batman want to go to prison? The man who just didn't care. I will say, in the theaters, the second I saw this opening up with Batman in prison, in jail, I just stared at the screen going, wow, I knew right off the bat, this is a different kind of Batman movie, and I loved it. Like, I was in. Like, there's certain kind of movie moments, I can't keep doing this, comic book movies where pretty strong off the get, I'm staring at the screen and going, in the theaters, it's just saying, oh, I'm in for a ride, this is a different kind of movie. This was one of them. Like, I remember in the original X-Men, I was used to, Batman 89, and not taken away from that, or like the Superman movie, the Christopher Reeve Superman movie, and all the comic book movies we had before that. But then in 2000, when we got X-Men, I remember I was there with my friend, and it was a friend of mine that we knew each other since we were little kids, and like when we were 10, like X-Men, when the cartoon came out, we were huge X-Men fans. So I was like, it's only right, me and you got to see this together. So we saw the movie, and when they opened up with the Holocaust, like I was, I was dumbfounded. I was like, why did I not see this coming? Like this is very different from what I knew comic book movies to be, and here, it was the same feeling. We were watching Batman, and they were opening up with him in jail. You know, that was strong. Um, that was, it was something. It was, you knew you were in for a ride. You knew you were in for something different. Um, so yeah, that's one of the major. That's one of the cool things I think of when I watch this. So we're seeing. And also, the pacing of it is pretty strong because we just had a flashback to his bat moment, his whatever you want to call it, and now we're already in jail. Now he's already meeting, well, the Liam Neesons. We'll call him anything. Just yet, we won't identify him just yet. I don't know why. I'm sure you know who he is. Ra's al Ghul or whoever it is, Dukar. As he says, it's funny. I remember when this came out, I knew there were people I knew who saw this and didn't understand that he was Ra's al Ghul. Like, he was Ra's al Ghul. I thought it was Leo. Like, I didn't get that. I didn't like. I picked up on it, but I knew there were people who to pick our shelves back up. Very flip. I loved X-Men Evolution. I liked it. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I did like X-Men Evolution. But yeah, the Popeye strips, how popular it is. Ooh, hang tight 1 second. One second. The movie's still going. I just gotta plug in the computer. 1 second. Okay, back. Didn't pause the movie. Just kept going. Okay, so I'm still loading up the movie date. Catch up. All right. I remember making a doc that showed the stunt coordination coming up with his fight style. I believe it was based on Filipino system. Yeah, and you know what? There's actually there's a lot of things towards that because Dick Grayson Nightwing, he uses the I can never remember what these things are called, but the harness sticks, which are a Filipino weapon, and he's pretty good with those. And so there's a lot of, but we all know that the Batman is someone who has studied multiple martial arts. So it's cool. Found my old DVD, which is part of the Nolan trilogy. Cool. Going DVD style. Nice. Storylines in the comic strips and Siegel and Schuster said Popeye is a big influence of Superman's creation. Yes, so there you go. So, like, he's not really a comic book, but he's kind of a comic book. Eskrima sticks. Yeah, I have known them as Arna sticks, but yes, those. Eskrima. If I'm pronouncing that right, but yes. I knew them when I was first introduced to them. I was told they were harness sticks, but like Elmer very much wants to correct me about how it is eskrima sticks. So I don't want to get into that debate. How do you feel about Stargirl introducing Justice Society of America and showing a picture of the '90s Flash in Justice League Society of America? I have no problem with that. I like the legacy of Justice Society and Justice League, and I think it's kind of cool to represent that. So I have no problem with it. And plus, the '90s Flash was already introduced in Crisis, so why not? AA. I loved DVDs because they had own menus. Typically looking when it sounded awesome. Yeah, and a lot of special features too. Like the Matrix was loaded with a lot of fun special features. Batman Begins had a few, or like hidden details where you clicked around the menu, you had to find certain things. Fight Club was pretty well stacked. Yeah, so wait, Stargirl in the '90s Flash universe. Uh, I'm not sure. Just like Crisis on Infinite Earths, it's not clear whether or not these are in these universes or these are just alternate universes that bear resemblance to some old ones. Like, was that really Tom Welling's Smallville? Was that the fate of Smallville? Or is that just something that, as a guy who looks like Smallville, and former Smallville, but it's not really Smallville in the future? Was Netflix, yeah, to include commentary tracks. I do too. I actually am a big commentary fan. There were a lot of commentaries that I used to listen to a lot. The Simpsons commentaries I listened to with Dave Merkin, the Simpsons seasons that had Dave Merkin on it. Also, Red versus Blue. I liked the commentary track on that. Tropic Thunder is a really funny one if you're into DVD commentaries. But yeah, there are a lot of things. I like hearing the process of how to make these things. Okay, so I wish, but yes, I wish I too. All right, so back to this current movie. Here we have this Tibetan monastery, this somehow very multi-ethnic monastery. Liam Neeson looks a lot younger than I remembered. I didn't realize he looked so different. And while he does have the bit of the mustache, it'd be interesting if he didn't have the lip cover. Now, I do love this movie, and I like the Nolan trilogy a lot. But there's a lot of people talk about how it's grounded in realism and how much they like it. And while I do, I'll be the first to admit it's really not grounded in realism. There's a lot of weird, goofy things that happen in this. And here's the first one: this weird blue flower that creates fear gas. I also think that's a plot point that some people miss: is that this flower is actually what synthesizes the fear gas. The effects of this is what Scarecrow is using. So Scarecrow doesn't really come up with it on his own. He's actually been given this toxin because he works for Ra's al Ghul. Doctor Who watch-a-thons was so big it became newsworthy. I am not a doctor. I'm not a Whovian. I gave it a try. I didn't get it. I just stared at the screen going, I don't understand this. I don't get the appeal. It was completely lost on me. Is that we're going to be on today's stream? No, of course. I'm still here. And Albert will not be joining me. I haven't left the house in a week. Last week it was to get this backdrop and some equipment from my office and make a quick stop to get food, and that was the last time. How many characters have an origin and false Asian mountaintop monastery? A lot. It's an odd thing for sure. Doctor Strange, this Batman, Doctor Doom when he gets the mask, depending on where you want to start his origin. And a flashback to the kid. Now this is typical Nolan. This Batman, the Batman series is one thing where Nolan kind of strips away from his typical directing skills, where he jumbles up the story in different chronology and timeline. But this is the closest we get to it, where he's just jumping back and forth between the flashback and present day. This is the closest that he's got. Yeah, that's what. Degenerate notifications can be annoying. I have run out of razor blades already. 2 weeks. So let's see. I do like this guy who played Bat. Like he conveys the image well. Something that's always bugged me about the Batman origin is the pearls. Why are the pearls always? And I know I've talked about this before, but why are the pearls always in the Batman origin? They have got to be in the crime alley. It always has to be there. Is this that important of a plot device? Is this something so essential they need to be featured front and center in every single Batman origin retelling? We've had a lot of them. I just find it very odd. And the interesting thing is, in the comic books, a lot of people don't know this. She wasn't. Martha wasn't shot. Martha, why'd you say that name? Wasn't shot in the original Batman origin. Most people don't know that. What happens was she has a heart attack from watching things happen, and that's what happens to her. But she actually isn't shot. A lot of people don't know that. So it's just one of those things. I just can't believe the pearls always have to be a thing. What did you think of X-Men Evolution? Like I said, I thought it was okay. Like it had its flaws. It was a little like I was in college when that show came out, so it was a little it's meant for a younger demographic, and I liked it. But there were certain things, but I did like it. But there were certain things that it skews a little younger. But also, I really didn't care for Avalanche and Kitty having a romantic tie together, especially because he's a bad guy. And I thought that if you're skewing to a younger audience, you shouldn't showcase things like that. I thought that was bad. Forgiveness, yada yada yada. But whatever. It was the same thing when WW first went PG, and they had Jeff Hardy as the hero and Straight Edge Society as the bad guys. I said, if you're shifting PG, why are you having the Straight Edge Society as the heroes? It doesn't really track. Oh well, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Weren't the pearls the catalyst for robbery? In most versions. Even so, I don't think it's if Martha getting shot is not something continuity wise that they feel the need to maintain. Why are the pearls something that just has to be there? Yeah, again, it's a motivation, but look at today. Look, who wears pearls today, or as we saw in the Justice League or the Batman versus Superman. That took place in the 80s, or Joker took place in the 80s, and I guess people still wore pearls then, but we're going to come to a time where people don't wear pearls anymore. It's like fur coats, pearls, pantyhose. These are slowly becoming things that women just don't wear all that often. I couldn't even tell you the last time I saw a woman in a fur coat. I couldn't even tell you the last time I saw A woman wearing pearls, like just one of those things. And plus, they're also rich, so and like kind of famous. So, and depending on what movie, and that's the other thing. If you want to talk about the motivation for robbery, we have they're getting out of the opera here. If they're getting out of the opera, they're definitely rich people. I've never been to an opera, but I also want to know what kind of like shady neighborhoods have operas. Anyway, but sometimes it's just regular movies, or they're seeing Zorro or something. So if hanging outside an opera, okay, these people are probably rich. Movie theater, all right, they could be anybody, but still. And in case you haven't, and this also starts off another thing that I think was really good. And here you go. As I said, the kid may not look like Christian Bale. Really solid actor. Got the tears going and everything. But as you heard, one of the great things about this movie is that it has a very strong theme, I think. Um, the theme is very strong, the idea of fear, conquering fear. And the symmetry between the trilogy, which there's a lot, like, as much as people love these movies, there's a lot of good meat here that people really don't talk about. And one of the most interesting things to me is the first one was about, this one is about fear. The third one, this one is about conquering fear. Like, they're talking about fear. The bad guys induce fear. Ra's al Ghul wants to have Gotham ripped itself apart by fear. Scarecrow wants to use fear to manipulate people. And Bruce overcomes his fear of bats and becomes the bat, and it's all about overcoming fear. The last one, the third one, is about embracing fear. Wanting to live, and like that gives you power. Like the fear, the fight or flight instinct, having something to fear gives you power. And it was about Batman refining it a lot, and it's something that gets lost or doesn't get said a lot. But that's one thing that's really great about this trilogy is that it bookends with it. And I know everyone loves the second one, and but I'm just pointing out that the parallels between the first and the third one are really strong with that whole fear dynamic of the story, which I've always found fascinating and really great that they did that too. Um, I'm sitting here playing Arkham Knight Nice, where Batman United States is my favorite Batman. Yeah, pretty good. And here it comes. Um, Double A, did you get all caught up? I'll give you the time code so you can catch up to where we are. Which origin do you prefer? The Waynes were random victims or targeted? I prefer them being random victims. There's something that's always been appealed to me about the idea of the randomness of it all. You just can't control it. It's one of those things that just happens. This scene, by the way, I absolutely love. Where at Alfred and Batman. This scene was really this was a really well done scene where the kid's blaming himself and everything like that. And young Bruce is working this issue out, and because weirdly enough, it was Batman Forever where there was a quick flashback where when Bruce was young and he's with Alfred, there was a quick flashback in the Val Kilmer one, and that was the first thing that made me realize it's like, well, what happened as a kid? I was like, yeah, what happened to Bruce afterwards? Like, who raised him? Like, what did he do? He wasn't just sitting there by himself playing Richie Rich. And, I guess it was Alfred. If you read the comic books, though, oftentimes he gets with his uncle. Sometimes he has an aunt in the '60s TV show, and also in the comics, there's also a housekeeper. So he's actually had multiple caretakers in his life, and it wasn't Alfred until recently. It became Alfred later on. I like it being Alfred. I've got no problem with that. The character of Bruce's uncle is not anybody I'm missing from live action, but it's just something interesting. Oh, okay, so you're all caught up. Let's find out where we are. Double A. 17 minutes and 32 seconds. That's where we're at. What claws do you prefer on Wolverine? Um, Adamantium, for sure. So, but what about you guys? What origin do you prefer? Do you prefer them being specifically targeted, or do you like them being random? I think the random, because here's my issue about if it is targeted. Now, you could play it however you want, but if it is a targeted attack on the Waynes, then wouldn't Batman be looking at bigger crime, stopping bigger crime, corrupt crime? If it's a random act, it's crime itself is the problem on a low-level street. That's why Batman parades the streets. That's why Batman goes around in the night. That makes more sense to me, like why he's like, for all intents and purposes, even though he's in the Justice League and he's fought aliens and monsters and all that kind of thing, Batman really is a street level guy. You know, he's more of an unfriendly neighborhood superhero, if you will. Hey, Warhawk. Dark Knight is tied to Batman. Just one second. Batman film, my favorite is Mask of Phoenix. My favorite one's actually this one. My favorite Batman movie, it's this one, right here. Yeah, I know Dark Knight is the one that most people like, but I absolutely thought this was perfect. Like, and they went with the Jaws principle. We don't see this Batman until like almost an hour deep into the film. And I know they did that again for a third one, but it's tough. But he's still not an anti-hero. No, he's not an anti-hero. I would agree with that, Roberto Soto. Good to see you as well. Okay, so another thing too, I've always been fascinated by this idea. There are these ideas that Batman actually um, glorifies his parents. His parents actually aren't as nice as he remembers them. They were nice to him because he was a little kid, but maybe they were corrupt people too. Maybe they were rich douchebags, or there's some interpretations that they were less than faithful to each other. They didn't really love each other, but because he was a little kid and all these years, his memory of his parents are that they're like altruistic, great people, but. There are some times writers take it that they weren't, and it's just he remembers it that way. Um, don't know how you guys feel about that. Ron Hoffman says Joel Schumacher was admittedly not a comic fan. His entire understanding of the character came from the Batman '66. His films were meant to be big budget version of that style, also to sell toys. Yeah, um, I get it. I think it's weird that they are on the same series from Tim Burton on, but nonetheless, um, I don't like Batman and Robin at all. But I actually do like Batman Forever. I actually think it's pretty good. I think, despite all the color and over the top, uh, and I actually think colored lighting has its purpose if it's done with respect. If you can see that, you know. But if you take away, if you can look past it, and I know it's distracting, but if you look past some of the over the top like ridiculous statues and the bigness of it and the cheesiness of it and all the color and all that. There is an interesting idea presented with um, ruined the riddle for me. I get it, but there are some interesting ideas for Batman Forever. The idea that he had to choose. It's muddled down deep, but it is there. The idea that he has to choose: are you Bruce Wayne or are you Batman? Which of these two characters. It was something not explored in either of Tim Burton's films. It was, there was more psychological meat to that movie than people realize, and I think the character of Bruce Wayne was explored a little bit more or deeper than either of the Burton films. It wasn't front and center; it was hidden beneath a mess of cartoon stuff, but it was still Jim Carrey, and of course Jim Carrey stole the, really grabbed all the attention with his over the topness that is Jim Carrey, but it was there, and using the idea that hey, Riddler has a secret identity. The Riddler has a secret identity, and there's a parallel between him and Bruce. They use them in interesting ways. As for me, it's really a movie. What I like movies, I get this criticism a lot, but like people talk about how they ruin this character for me, and like that can ruin a movie for a lot of people. If there's characters they like and they're done very differently, some people just can hate an entire movie based off of reinterpretation of the character. For me, I don't care about that kind of stuff as much. I'm willing to give an reinterpretation of a character a chance, as long as it's justified, as long as there's a reason for it, as long as it fits in the story. I'll hear your case. Um, and even if you do ruin a character, and even if it is for no good reason, I still won't hear your case. I look at the plot. I look at the way it all ties together. I look at the overall movie story experience. Like, what was this trying to do? And that's normally what I base things on. I've mentioned this before. Oh, and by the way, this I liked. Now, I have a friend who worked at DC Comics at the time, and he mentioned how, going back to this movie, Chris Nolan mentioned, I can't help it, the condensed milk on the top shelf thing. It stands out to me. I'm like, condensed milk is good, but it does seem interesting that a bunch of little kids are stealing it. And he has to put it on the top shelf. Anyway, I had a friend who was working at DC at the time, and he said that Chris Nolan, what he did was, speaking to Schumacher and not being familiar with the product or the property, that my friend who worked at DC told me that Nolan came in and he asked people in DC Comics, "Hey, what do you like about Batman? What's cool about Batman? What's this? What?" And he wanted everybody's feedback, and he started taking it to create like what made Batman Batman, why people like them. And also, rumor has it, not by my friend, just a completely different rumor. I was told that the first person that Chris Nolan called when he got the job to direct this movie was Brad Pitt, but Brad Pitt was filming Troy. So, who knows? We could have gotten Brad Pitt as Batman, who actually would have been my pick. Anyway, so one of the things that he got was that people said that Bruce Wayne shouldn't be the mask. Like, he really is Batman, which I think is funny. Like, in Kill Bill, Bill has that monologue about Superman, how Clark Kent is a disguise, his critique on the human race. But it's actually the other way around. That's actually not true. Like, I say that's not true. He grew up as Clark. He grew up as a Midwesterner. And in a lot of interpretations, he doesn't even know that he's Kal-El from Krypton until after the fact, until the Kents tell him when he starts, when he's a little bit older. So he's that good old boy. That is who Clark is. And Superman is just, yeah, sure, DNA-wise, yeah, he's Superman, but personality-wise, in his mind, he's Clark. And then when we have Bruce, on the other hand, I think it's the other way around. Bruce Wayne, while he might be DNA-wise just a human, in his head, he's Batman. They even pushed this in the Batman Beyond episode where Batman was hearing voices saying he's like, how he knew he wasn't crazy because he says, the voice in my head kept calling me Bruce. And in my head, that's not what I call myself. And that's how he knew he was saying. I love that. I love that. So, but it's like, he really is Batman. And Bruce Wayne, the philanthropist playboy that everyone sees, is the mask. But anyway, back on this thing. The gun thing, like, I think one of the major reasons that a lot of people had a problem with Batfleck and the gun stuff, even though Keaton used guns, is that this scene right here, or this kind of events, why he hates guns, was so strongly done. It was so well represented. And this, too, the idea that he can't shoot Joe Chill because someone else did, was also something else that was just, like, mind-blowing. It was the idea that he can't have his revenge, what he wanted to do. This whole part right here was really powerful, and this is, like, just another one of those scenes that I absolutely adore. I think it was perfectly executed, and it's like I don't have things like this in the other two Batman Chris Nolan films. I like Dark Knight. I like Dark Knight Rises. But tell me the scene that's as powerful as this exchange in Dark Knight. Tell me the emotional resonance of, like, seeing that kid cry with Alfred. Give me that. There are scenes that are really, really good in those other films, but this movie had so many emotional parts to it, so many components to it that really made you think and made you see something that you never thought you'd see before, and like a different kind of Batman, and a reinterpretation that guided you down the path of, like, why isn't Batman always told like this? That's how I think about this. Did you ever read All-Star Batman? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I read one criticism that said Frank Miller was undoing all the good work he's ever done for Batman, and while I think that is a bit harsh, I will say Batman and Robin All-Star was not a highlight. Another song, if I'm not mistaken, I think the title was Batman 3000. It was around when DC was trying to come up with a series of titles to compete with the 2099 series, and I think it was a 3000 series, and they had a Batman and Robin, but Batman gets taken out very early, and it was really supposed to be more about Robin. Nobody really talks about that. It wasn't great, but I like some of the ideas behind it. While we're at it. Okay, so Bally says, I used to feel the same way until DC Rebirth put Todd together with Bizarro and Aramis to form Dark Trinity, and they had great chemistry. Interesting. I said in the last live stream, characters like Red Hood should be saved for big story events, not just random stories. Yes, I remember I was talking about this. But Bally does bring an interesting point. The jump from goth noir to bright and campy was jarring. Yes, absolutely it was. Ron Hawthorne. Also a shame that we couldn't get Katie Holmes to come back. She was such an important character. Did you read Disordered Minds? No. But if you're suggesting it, good to know. Yeah, but this moment right here. Something also I think is weird is continuity-wise, it's very unclear what time of day this takes place in. Because they were up there, it was daytime. She drives down in the lower part of Chicago, which is, if you drive down the wrong street in Chicago, you definitely know where that is. Then it was on his nighttime. Then he goes to gun. Then he throws the gun away, and it's like, morning, and now he comes back in and it's like nighttime. Like, what time is this taking place in? It's one of those weird things that nobody really notices, but if you think about it continuity-wise, this is very confusing. Yeah, Ron Hawthorne, yeah. Certain choice phrase that he calls Robin. The Graysons also getting sniped was unnecessary. What did you like about the New 52, and what did you hate about the New 52? Hate is about the New 52 is a long list. What did I like about it? I'm sure there are things. I like the Justice League's origin in the New 52. I thought that was good. Before we knew it was the Watchmen, I did like the idea behind Flashpoint, if that counts for anything. I liked the costume redesigns mostly. I thought they looked cool. I really like Wonder Woman and Aquaman. I think they did both those characters well. I think they benefited the best from the New 52. I think Superman suffered the most. Uh, IS from 1995. What? This reminds us of DC Marvel crossover. Spider-Man goes to Gotham chasing Carnage. Spidey and Batman allied in order to stop Carnage and the Joker. Oh, I saw. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think I saw a panel of the Joker and Carnage. Is that where it's from? No, I did not read it, but okay, good to know if that is where I'm thinking of. That's cool. Because I seem distracted outside there were a bunch of honking horns. Apparently, it's like one of my neighbors. It's a young boy. It's his birthday or something like that, and um, I think people are not coming over to celebrate, but they're driving by and honking horns. Yeah. So instead of coming in the house, they're just beeping by and then they're just driving along, playing music and doing as much as they can. So reminds from 1995. Got it. Okay. I love Grant Morrison's run on Action Comics. I prefer the chemistry between Superman and Batman over the post-crisis version. Oh, okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair. I didn't like that how Jordan was turned into a joke. Um, Batman, I think, was just fine, but Superman, I don't think benefited at all from the New 52, and part of the Watchmen reveal really helped bring it back to where he needed to be. And the Superman Wonder Woman romance, while I understand that it makes sense in a lot of ways, it also doesn't. It just doesn't work. It's one of those things where I think Bruce Timm, yeah, I think Bruce Timm was the one who said it's like, everybody wants the quarterback to be with the head cheerleader. It's just like where do you think things go, but it's like, does it ever really happen? And it's not as interesting. I also do like the concept that he was, stealing so he wouldn't starve, the concepts of right and wrong. Also very, he's in a very multi-ethnic part of the world. But then when it comes to real crime, he's really just stealing from himself. This concept cracked me up, like in the movies where he was just stealing from his own company. Like I just found it funny, like the idea, like the idea. And that's what he got in jail for just robbing himself. It was just one of those things. I was like, huh, he never really became a criminal. I'm like, okay, that's a cute workaround. Something else that now Batman Begins. I've talked about this over and over again. Something that about the Batman Begins movie. If there was one, like I know that in terms of the actual plot of this movie, they couldn't do it. But one thing that I always kind of drove me crazy is I want a Batman story where they really focus on all of his travels, all the different things he does, all the different places he goes, and all the different training camps. This Batman movie, while they did show he traveled during his origins, it does make it seem like the bulk of his training is being received from the League of Shadows. But as you can see beforehand in those brief glimpses, he is in different parts of the world. He's not just in this one area. So like before he got arrested, before he got thrown in jail. But what I want is like one where, like in the animated series, where they show him training with Zatara, and they show him like maybe learning this martial art one day or this martial art the next day. But instead, you're led to believe that his fighting style was really developed here. Although you can tell from prison that he already knows how to fight. So yeah, you can imply that he learned stuff elsewhere, but I always wanted something to really explore that. And as I've said over and over again, I would love it if they had a TV show that did that, the Bruce Wayne Chronicles or whatever. Double A, are you there yet? I hope so. Um, have you ever seen the argument that the Enemy of the State Black Panther arc by Priest was the direct inspiration for Morrison's Tower of Babel? I have not, but that does make sense. I agree about what they did to the movie. And look, I know the movie did badly, but what do you like? You don't gotta like dump on Hal for it. It's like between the movie, between Parallax, and that whole thing. Look, Hal's been dumped off enough. Can we just can did catch a break? First of all, his name is Hal. Who's named Hal anymore? I'm not a fan. By the way, does anyone have a problem with them changing Dick Grayson's name to Rick Grayson? Does that bother anybody? Because for me, it's long overdue. I thought they would call him Rich or something because, like, I mean, really, it's same thing with Beast Boys. Like they've maintained that his name is Garfield. Can't he just be Gary? How does anybody feel about the first name change? Superman is actually interesting. They started placing him more in interesting storylines since the 80s. See, the 80s run, the John Byrne rewrite, I loved, and I especially loved what they did with Lex. But in terms of Superman, the boots and the t-shirt, I understand that's just a look, but I don't need him darker and grittier. The part to me is most fascinating is like the comic book, What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way. The idea that you have someone so idealistic, someone who is so squeaky clean that he believes in the good of humanity so strongly. That's what's interesting, especially in today's day and age where people are much more cynical. It's like, how does he maintain this outlook? Why does he still believe what he believes? Here's why. We live in a day and age where some of that stuff is dumped upon, but here we have a character who firmly believes it and doesn't change anything about it. Oh, it was cute, it was simple, but the cutting of the arm thing I thought was great. Although a bunch of these guys are standing there just getting cut in the arm with a sword and they're not even flinching, but at the same time, I'd be like, yo, man, this ain't my trial. Anyway, so, but yeah, I do like this review. It's a simple trick, it's a simple parlor trick, and you kind of see it coming, but I did like this scene very much. Anyway, that's so. What's so funny about Truth, Justice, and the American Way? I think is really great. Showcasing that some main talent in that, and it also adds credence to the Lex argument, where it's like, why is he able to believe in things like truth, justice, and the American way so unwaveringly? Is it because he really does, and he was just raised that way, or is it because he's not human, and humans aren't capable of believing this? And that's a Lex point of view. Like there was the Lex Luthor Man of Steel arc, where one of the toy makers, killed a bunch of kids, and Lex says the people on the street may never say it, but they want to see this guy get killed. They want to see the man executed. But by Superman's logic, everyone has the right to a fair trial. Every life needs to be saved no matter what, and he should go to jail, not that. But Lex's thinking is, if Superman was human, he knows what humans think. He would know that a human wants to see this go down a certain way. But it's because he's not human is why he doesn't know that. And it's an interesting argument. Is that true? Is Lex right? Is Superman right? Is there a right to fairness? Or is Lex right in saying that, hey, a lot of people won't admit that, but everybody who says that that's not true, who says that Superman's right, really deep down wants to see things go down the same way he does. It's just the only difference is Lex is willing to admit that he wants to see this guy get splattered. It's an interesting. I say splattered because like his Supergirl that he made picked Toyman up and was like going to drop him from the sky, and Superman at the last second saved him, and then the people cheered and all that on the ground and all that. And Lex is saying, those people are cheering, but deep down, they wanted to see him splatter. They know he deserves it. So that to me has more thing. If we have a gray Superman who's like, who's willing to snap necks and Man of Steel and all this stuff like that, okay, well, where do we go for him? Lex doesn't have an argument. There isn't a back and forth argument. Lex is just right. He goes, well, that's an alien that we can that's dangerous, and he's lethal. We should probably put some reins on him. And you're like, yeah, that's probably right. And that was like Batman's argument, Batman versus Superman. But if it's the other way around, then yeah, you got more of an argument. Anyway, no Superman. Let's go back to this. The animated movie Superman versus the Elite was good though. Yeah, that good too. That was a movie. That was an animated movie version of What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, the American Way. It's the same story, mostly. Hey Dave, I have no problem with the name change. Good. Me neither. Because his name Dick anymore. I do have a coworker, or He was a coworker. Maybe a coworker again whose father is named Dick, and he insists he still goes by it. It's like he knows, but still, he's still okay with it. So I mean, there are. So I guess there are some people, but that dude is like really old. Where Dick Grayson's supposed to be like a 20-year-old kid. Like, he's supposed to be like 21. What 21-year-old goes, wants to be called Dick? Hal from Malcolm in the Middle was still that name. He's a fictional character, though. I mean, in real life, do you know anyone in real life named Hal? I think something similar to Nightwing is why Richard Rider was replaced. Yeah. So I disagree about the 70s had some interesting stories, like Elliot as Morgan. I mean, yeah, but do those stories hold up? Superman stories from the 70s, I mean, they're better than Batman stories in the 70s, but DC stories in the whole from the 70s, I was never the biggest fan of. I'm not a New 52. I'm not a fan of New 52 Superman, but I like Morrison's action run was generally good, and apart from the arc, he actually felt like Superman, unlike Superman. Okay, that's fair. Spidey's 90s cartoon was a hit. Yeah, I love that. I will admit, rewatching it is a little rougher than I remembered it, and as I was hoping for, but it's still good. Not great, but it's still good. Like, Batman the Animated Series still holds up. Oh yeah, and this whole thing, it's like, the, yeah, he won't execute one guy, but he will blow up an entire building full of people. It's like, yeah, sure pushing it here, pal. My theory on the Joker movie ending is different from what they say. I believe Joker being locked in Arkham Asylum was the actual illusion. Interesting. So, like, the ending, the last couple of minutes is actually illusion. Everything else before that happened. That's an interesting interpretation. A personal favorite movie of mine next to the 90s X-Men one. Oh, personal favorite. Yeah, now the 90. You're talking about the cartoon. Yeah, I'm sorry, not the movie. You're talking about the cartoon. The cartoon, yes, the X-Men cartoon from the 90s. I absolutely love it. Like, Elmer says he only likes the first season. Thinks after that it starts going downhill, but I disagree. There are a lot of things in the subsequent seasons that work very well. Last season, okay, fine, no, it was bad. The fifth season was good, but there was a lot of other stuff. I really, really like that. I think X-Men still holds up very well. The cartoon. I think the cartoon holds up better than the movies, to be honest. Some of them, I mean. I think that 90s cartoon holds up better than the first X-Men, definitely the third X-Men. I think it's better than Apocalypse, X-Men Apocalypse, and definitely better than Dark Phoenix. There you go. Theme song. Yeah, Double A, we're trying to see if you're all caught up. I am currently now to the time code. The problem with the Schumacher films is that they were so campy that Adam West Batman would allow them to tone it down. Yeah, but it's like one of those things I don't mind. It's like from a production, you overreacting. Like the dude, like the security guard in the bank vault, the bank thing, the bank tube, the safe, whatever that was. In the beginning of that, he's so over the top and so ridiculous, and it's like, okay, yeah, I would love it if they pulled it back on that one. But that guy was so over the top, he made Jim Carrey not so weird when we got to him. I'm on 35 minutes. 35 minutes. You are about 7 minutes behind. Let's see, Spider-Man 3. What are your hopes, Dave? I do want Venom, but I don't want Tom Hardy Venom, or not that movie Venom. I would like not Lobster. Not that guy. I want like a good Venom, an MCU Venom. When did you first start reading comics? I caught the very tail end of Silver Age. They go back as far as I can remember. Like 3. Like, back then they were still cheap. It was before comic book shops opened up, so they still cost like change. When I would go to preschool, like I remember it was a subway station when we would get back from it, and it was like a treat. Like my mom, like if I was good, I would get one every once in a while or something like that from preschool. But also, I had severe asthma when I was a kid. Like I had a severe asthma attack where I was hospitalized, and the doctor gave me a Captain America versus the Asthma Monster comic book. To let you know that, hey, Captain America had asthma, and he grew up big and strong, so you don't gotta worry. Like, I was 3 at the time, so I didn't really think anything of it. Like, people were, like, being really nice to me and, like, all, like, scared for me and stuff. I didn't get it, and I was like, because I really didn't remember anything. Like, I blacked out, and I just woke up in the hospital with a bunch of wires and stuff hooked up to me and everything. I didn't know what happened. Like, I still remember it, too. Just like, what just happened? Like, when did I get here? So, like, I wasn't worried. Like, everybody was worried, but, the doctor's like, hey, you're gonna be okay, kid. And I was like, all right. Like, I didn't know it. Or you weren't breathing. I'm like, what's breathing? Like, I didn't even know what it was about. But so he gave me the comic book. I wish I still had it. I don't no idea what I did with it. So, but that was kind of the start. And also, for my age demographic, Spider Ham from Spider Verse, like Spider Ham was targeted at me. It was like Marvel's thing to try and get like really small children on board with comic books. It worked. But also, Spider Man and Amazing Friends came out around that time. So, like, I was watching Spider Man and Amazing Friends. I love that cartoon. Yeah, sure, it's another one that doesn't really hold up so much, but I loved Spider-Man and the Amazing Friends. Justice League, of course. Super Friends, sorry, not Justice League. Super Friends was on at the time, so this was the thing that, so, like, so the comic books I would get was, like, when I was little, it was like a lot of Thundercats, but it was Spider-Man, the Captain America as a monster thing, and I had like a Gray Hulk phase kind of deal, but but it was pretty much Spider-Man. So that was kind of like where it came from. Oh, and He-Man, of course. He-Man too. Those mini comics that came with the toys, like He-Man was a big part of it. So like all these things just was part of it. Like I was in the comic books before I was into wrestling. I'll put it that way. The YouTube song for Batman Forever. Yeah, the soundtrack for Batman Forever. Like if you were roughly my age, that was like one CD like everybody had was the Batman Forever soundtrack. Batman Forever soundtrack and the Space Jam soundtrack. Like if you're in my rough wheelhouse age-wise, you had both of those, or you had them in some capacity. I don't have them on CD, but my friend did, and then I recorded them on tape, on cassette. So that still counts. The Riddler. Chris O'Donnell said that he felt they were making a toy commercial, and maybe it's my age bracket or whatever, but a lot of people criticize like commercialism and also product placement. I don't care at all. When we see the product placement, it's like, oh, look at this logo for this thing. That's my real life. I'm staring at the brand name for this mouse, for this microphone, for this computer, for this TV, and this is just within this webcam directly within my sight, eye line. Let me see, like, what's directly in front of me right now. Um, well, a bunch of stuff. But it's like, but I see logos everywhere. That's real life. So when people complain about product placement in movies, and it's commercialism, it's like, well, that's what I see. Period. So it's to me, it's just realistic. It's like, oh, Superman and Man of Steel crashes through an IHOP and all this stuff like that in the Sears. It's like, well, if you went to Kansas, I never been to Kansas, but I'm just saying, if you got in a fight in the middle of, Pennsylvania and just got into a fight, you're probably going to land into a IHOP. Can play it now. Power Rangers soundtrack. That I am not familiar with whatsoever. My mom would buy me action figures if I was good in school. Yeah. That came later when I got a little older, but yeah, it was strange. I couldn't really even read, but Doctor Doom deserves his own standalone movie. I don't know about deserves. I mean, I don't know how much a fictional character deserves anything like that. I know there were plans on it, but I don't need villains getting their own standalone movies. If anybody was going to be the villain that I wanted the movie and they were plans for it and they never did it, it would be this guy, Magneto. Like First Class, we got enough of it, but his story is the one I think is the most interesting. If there was ever a guy to get his own standalone movie, I think it was this. I mean, we've had Joker, Harley Quinn, Venom, so. But if you want it, cool. I'm not even saying it's gonna be bad, but just okay, Roberto Soto says Fox Kids Marvel animated series was the original MCU. They started with all the X-Men, showing cameos, Hulk, Iron Man. Yeah, if only they expanded. If only Fox Kids animated series had more than just like I know there were the older cartoons. Iron Man did have a cartoon, Hulk had a cartoon, but It'd be nice if they were incorporated. Like, Bruce Timm really did. The Paul Dini Bruce Timm run, the Batman animated series, that was definitely more along the lines of an extended universe, which I love, by the way. I gotta admit, this must be weird. It just shows up and says, "Oh, here I am. My company. Only Doctor Doom I want to see is a little movie." Now here's a question: who would you like? I know this is not Fancast Correct, but who would you like to see as Doctor Doom? I guess I won't be doing a Fancast Correct for this. I'll just flat out say it because I might as well say it because it can't happen. But unfortunately, I really wanted Alan Rickman to play Doctor Doom. Not going to happen now, unfortunately. I also wanted, once upon a time, Anthony Hopkins to play Doctor Doom. And, a lot of people say, well, he's too old. Well, the problem now is that he was Odin. But, when it comes, and it's just really, if you think about if you think about the people who are in the MCU, you're like, really? It's weird. But one of the major reasons I think it doesn't matter is my Doctor Doom is wearing a mask the whole time, so it won't matter who's behind it. The guy could be 100 years old. He's scarred up. Well, he's got wrinkles that you could kind of barely see. It doesn't matter. He's all scarred up. Won't make a difference. I do want a Nightwing movie as well. Love Magneto. In my own personal opinion, he will always be an anti-villain, not a straight-up villain. Yeah, no, agreed, Roberto. So, I talked about this last time. I said if there was one Marvel guy I wanted to see turn good, it would probably be Magneto because, I mean, like, not only, I said it's hard to root against a Holocaust survivor, let's start there, and number two, it's like, isn't he kind of right? Like, I'm not saying, you should wipe out all humanity, but he knows what it's like to be persecuted and knows the way people get. And so he's a little defensive about it. It's like, he probably should be. And there are these giant mutant killing robots called Sentinels. It's like, they want to exterminate us. He's like, no, that's not true. No, he's actually right, yeah. He's taken to a bit of an extreme, but I get his paranoia, for lack of a better term for it, because he's been through it before. He knows the way this story's going to end. And, he should be listened to a degree. He's not. You shouldn't take everything he says to the nth level, but to a degree. Do you have a favorite comics era? No, like, I know everyone dumps on the 90s, but I really do think dumping on the 90s seems a little harsh. Yeah, don't get me wrong, I get it. There was way too much. There was a lot that was done that was probably not so. I mean, I guess I would say the '80s was probably my best comic book era. But there were some interesting ideas that came out in the '90s, and it was the beginning of the late. Yeah, I guess it would be the '80s. I would have to say the '80s because in the '80s you kind of got the best of both worlds because like after John Byrne reboot, you start seeing characters taken a little more seriously. Oh, and also the Ruby Spears Superman show, another '80s cartoon that I think people don't talk about enough. I actually have that, and I don't think it's that bad. John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. I've mentioned that already on this channel that I'm not rooting for that. But, let's say the '80s, because you got the best of both worlds. You still got a little bit of camp in the early '80s, but then in the later '80s, things started getting darker. When your Alan Moore started kicking in, and Frank Miller started running wild, and we got the V for Vendettas, and then we got the Dark Knight Returns, and we got a lot of these cool darker stuff, and the reboot that we already talked about with John Byrne, and Crisis, and Toughly and Spider-Man, we got the symbiote costume, and we got all these cool things that happened in the '80s. Where in the '90s, it was like in the '80s, it was all about taking these characters to a darker place. In the '90s, it was all about breaking them down. Let's break the bat with Bane. Let's have Doomsday, and then with Superman, and then the multiple Superman, that nonsense, which was nonsense. And then let's get Spider-Man who's really a clone, and Riley. Let's take the guy and get rid of him. Like, that was the '90s MO for all the major players, and it was just stupid. Or even Wolverine. He's still Wolverine, but let's just rip the adamantium out of him. While Fatal Attraction was awesome, it was really cool. But the '90s was about taking the hero, taking the popular guy, and taking away, either getting rid of him or taking away aspects of him or replacing him or whatever. Now it's the same thing, except it's replaced the character with with a minority. But that's what we looked at for for many years. But in the '80s, it was just more about making them more realistic. Let's find a way to take these characters and just make them a little more real. And speaking of which, one thing I love, Another thing I love about this movie is the sequence. They told you all these Batman-y things, like the suit and all this, and they explain it in a way you're like, okay, it's plausible. Yeah, if I start to break down the physics and the science of any of the stuff that they're talking about, I will probably realize that's all a load of crap. But it's explained well enough where you're watching a movie, you can shut your brain off enough to just say, okay, fine. It's not one of those things that's so over-top ridiculous, and where you're staring going, I'm pretty sure that's not true. The cape, everything, you're like, okay, I buy it. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of stuff in this movie that I say, this is nonsense. Same thing with, like, Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. There's definitely stuff that stands out to me, like, okay, when people say this is a realistic Batman, they're really not thinking it through. But there are parts of it that are digestible enough. Double A says you're winning the bet. What bet? Double A. I was reading going to the whole thing. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, Double A. Well, you're confident. I'll give you that. I hate Spider-Man clone arc. A lot of people do. I hate Ben Reilly, and you know what the weird thing is? Elmer, like, defends Ben Reilly. Elmer has this, like, bleeding heart for, like, characters. He feels bad for characters when people don't like him, like Raiden in Metal Gear Solid 2. He's like, they didn't do anything wrong. It's not Ben Reilly's fault. It's like, well, he's a fictional character. But Elmer's like, Ben did nothing wrong, and people just hate him. It's not fair. And it's like, dude, they're not real. I'll hate Ben Reilly all I want. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he did nothing wrong. He's a fictional character. Okay, play the movie again. What movie again? 55 and 5 seconds. Roberto says Keanu Reeves is Wolverine. I hope not. That casting makes no sense. I don't care how much you love John Wick. He is not Wolverine. I think he's got to be Namor. I mean, dude, be perfect for Namor. And if we got Aquaman at his best, in my opinion, being like a bro dude, like a dude bro, whoa, Keanu, Surfer Namor just kind of makes sense. Excellent. I'm Namor. Whoa. Point Break, Namor. Congratulations, you won the... But, you remember stipulation? I'm sure Harry does, so I don't have to. You gotta do something. I remember what I would have done. I would have to watch that William Regal Goldberg match for an hour straight, which is a lot of times. But, yeah, Harry, what did he have to do? And thank you for reminding me. Oh, and Infinity Gauntlet, dude. Infinity Gauntlet is one of my all-time favorite comic books and storylines. Everything was perfect there. Yeah, good point. At least don't remember. Yeah, Harry remembers. Going back to Elliot, he deserves more love. His Superman novels are some of the best Superman stories ever written, and he was the one who came up with the concept of Lex Luthor and not Wolfman. Right. Right. I mean, yeah. Yeah. I'm not arguing it, but my favorite part of Superman is Lex Luthor, and John Byrne's the one who really gave me the Lex I want, so as far as I'm concerned, everything good is always with Lex. You can change his YouTube name. Of course Harry remembers. My man, thank you, Harry. Yeah, so I don't have to change your YouTube name. I don't even want to change it. I like Double A. Okay. And then the car. If there was one glaring thing about this movie I don't love is, it's practicality, it's functionality, I get it, but I actually never really loved the tank, the Batmobile tank model. Yeah, I get it. For this universe, it makes sense. The tumbler, like, it makes sense for this film's universe, but the car is definitely problematic for me. I've never liked this Batmobile. Trouble A. So what will it be, Dave? Let's get this over with. I don't know. Maybe WrestleMania weekend still not here yet. And you know what? The Hall of Fame is postponed. So should we just wait till they actually have it? Because you never know. Maybe they'll come up with a couple more. But yeah. You want to postpone it? Wait till they actually do the Hall of Fame? Because technically speaking, you never know. because it's reworded to summer, right? I want a DC Universe Civil War. Who would it be between them? Now, don't say Batman and Superman because that's too obvious. And remember, Captain America and Iron Man are not the number 1 and 2 guys. Spider-Man and Wolverine are for Marvel. So it would have to be lesser known guys. Because one thing that was great about the Civil War book, it took characters that were lower tier or less than popular, not their most popular people, and they put them at the forefront. I find Alan Moore Superman stories to be slightly really. I like his run with Supreme. What about for the Man Who Has Everything? You don't think that was a great Superman story? Because I absolutely adore that story. Yeah, who could you separate ideologies for? First name that comes to mind would be Green Lantern, and not Flash, because Flash is, Actually, Dick Grayson wouldn't be a bad one. Hawkman versus Green Arrow? Green Arrow's not the worst idea in the world, because, yeah, Ollie's definitely a dude who butt heads with people. The 8th member. I mean, they kind of done. They've done Wonder Woman and Aquaman in Flash in a Flashpoint series, but that's actually something where you could meet. And I don't know if they have Green Lantern versus Nightwing. Yeah, I'm not sure if they have people who stand on foundations that strongly. Like Captain America and Tony are going. You can see them being very strong-headed about a particular issue, and you can see them butting heads, and it just made sense. Green Arrow is definitely one of them, but like he's a very liberal superhero. But who's the very conservative superhero to counterbalance him? Because I don't think that's Dick Grayson. The Man Who Had Everything was good, but I'm not a fan of what happened to the Man of Tomorrow. Oh, I'm not. I don't love whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow either. But I think it's a good story. I don't love it, but it's like an offshoot. It's an Elseworld. It's not a main continuity, but it's just an interesting idea. Like I love that series of whatever happened to blah blah blah, whatever happened to Festival Man Live, whatever happened to the Man Tomorrow. I think it's a good series, just as its own stories. In case you haven't noticed, over on the Wrestling Channel, a lot of my stories about who doesn't get pushed, they're called. The title is "Whatever Happened to Blah Blah Blah," and the reason why I do that was because of all those titles, because I actually like that. Forget postponing it, just do it already. I'll take my part. But here's my question: what if they do this? What if they have the Hall of Fame and SummerSlam weekend, and by then they announce that William Regal's in? Like, what am I going to do then? You already changed your YouTube name for a week, so like, if we do it now, then then you might have done it for no reason. So that's why I kind of want to postpone until they do the actual Hall of Fame this year, okay? And finally, you have Batman. And how deep are the movie? Past the 1 hour mark before we get Batman. We still haven't actually got him just yet. And cookies downstairs that I really want. My food sources are getting low. I resort to eating English muffin pizza. I haven't done that since I was like 10. See, yeah, it's not postponing for that. It's postponing because of the Hall of Fame itself. Everything is postponed. Hey, Dale. Good to have you back. And thank you for the thumbs up, by the way. I don't know what it is. This movie is longer than I remember. So what's the point? Let's face it, Regal's not. Wow, we were trying to cap this one off. Maybe next year if Mania is in the UK, but not this year. So just tell me what you want me to change. I don't know. Unlike you, Double A, I am. Oh man, where it counts. Jeez, Harry. Without Arthur, you got no one to yell at, huh? Big Blue Attack, where am I? Me? I said I'm at 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 38 seconds. Is the store still open by you so you can go to the grocery store? I think it is, but I haven't gone, so I don't know. I haven't been there in a week, so I don't know, maybe. I think it is, but who knows. I still got stuff in the freezer. I still got things, but yeah, it's raining on me at this point. Harry, at least I can see where it counts. Jeez. Alright, you're 1 and 1, alright? You both got each other. Now calm down, alright? Truce time. There's the Batman. Oh, Batman. Okay, I will say that the voice is a little much. I like that he changes his voice, but maybe a bit much. But you know what? In Batman Begins, I don't think the Batman voice was as pronounced as it was in Dark Knight. In Dark Knight, I thought it was way harder. Like here was a little bit. I was like, all right, all right. But in the next in Dark Knight, I actually think it was worse. Where are you? Here. Huh? I have no idea what you're talking about, Big Blue Attack. Let's face it, Mania will never be in the UK. It really should. I don't know why it's not. I complain about this all the time. It had. Besides, it would be disrespectful to America. But they've had in Canada multiple times. And, like, arguably two of the biggest matches ever were in Canada with Hogan versus The Rock and Hogan versus Warrior. Arguably. I'm not saying that they are, but those are two huge marquee matches that took place not in America for WrestleMania, so. I'm just looking out for you, man. I go walk around, just keep my sanity. Appreciate it. You guys, this is my sanity. Yes, it's coming. Your opinion on Shang-Chi? I'm really excited for the movie, especially since they casted an actual actor who actually has a martial arts background. Yeah, that's a nice change. What, you mean Finn Jones doesn't count? Of course he doesn't. No, Shang-Chi, I'm looking forward to it. You know, got postponed. You know, unfortunate. I am curious to see what they were going to do with the Mandarin. I still wish Mandarin was done right with Iron Man. I think it's kind of weird we're going to get him with Shang-Chi, but whatever. And my thing about it was, if you know the Mandarin's actual origin, I mean, sometimes he's like, you know, hundreds of thousands of years old, but a major part of it was that he discovered alien technology in an area called the Valley of Shadows, and used that technology to create, you know, to gain power. That's kind of what they did with the Vulture in Spider-Man: Homecoming. So who knows if he can have that origin? Then the other part of the origin, which I thought I've mentioned this before, I wouldn't mind him being revamped towards, is just being like an evil version of Tony Stark, where. And I said, like, the 10 rings could be, like, 10 mini arc reactors, because in my head, the way the story works was, in the first movie, Tony comes up with the arc reactor, the bad guy can't match him. Second one, the bad guy matches him, comes up with an arc reactor of his own. The third one, to me, the logical one, was having the bad guy who's better than Tony. 10 mini arc reactors. Like, you know, you made the giant arc reactor small, well, here's a guy who made him even smaller. What? You know, that was where I wanted to go. But since Tony's not involved in this, that doesn't even matter. So it's like all the places I conceivably could have seen the Mandarin going, because I thought, well, I had a friend, he was on the wrestling channel. He's actually Elmer's friend. He made a cameo. That episode is not on anymore, but he was on the wrestling channel. He was the one who actually thought that the Ducks were in a row for the Avengers, taking all that alien technology from the invasion and using that to become the Mandarin, because that's his actual story. Then here we go. It's right there, and then they used it for Vulture of all people. And the fact that they used it on Vulture really confuses me, especially considering the fact that Falcon, I almost called it Vulcan, Falcon has wings that were developed by Stark. So it's like you don't need this big elaborate excuse of Chitauri tech with the alien metal and all this stuff to give this guy wings. We already have another guy with wings, and Vulture's wings have giant fans in them. It's like Falcon just has wings. It's like yeah, whatever. I don't mess with little kids like you. I'm 21. Hey, guys, calm down. Like I said, okay, all right. A big standard pay-per-view in the UK. Yeah, like we haven't had one since SummerSlam. Canada has proximity. No, I get it, but I'm just saying it's not America. I'm just saying. Do you prefer long or short bat ears, Lakel? Short, but it's not a huge preference. But I'm glad you asked because I often think about that. How about you? What do you guys prefer? What is the made a comic book, The Crow vs. Batman? What is the made a comic book, Crow vs. Batman? I don't know what you're asking. I feel they're using the Mandarin to replace Fu Manchu. Well, no, they absolutely are. As Shang-Chi faltered due to copyright. No, they absolutely are. But still. Why not have it in DC, Chicago, and Portland? Why not? Who knows? Portland's not a choice, though. I'm an LA fan. What about Seattle, bruh? Bruh? Well, Harry, you mess with the kids and... Hey! Alright, guys, knock it off! Both of you, behave yourselves. Short ears for me as well. Yeah. The ears are too pointy, and I missed their cape, but not bad, kid. Not bad at all. Listen, bonk it is, you guys. Both of you, knock it off. I just found out one of my family. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Big Blue attack. Very sorry to hear that. Very sorry to hear that. I hope you're okay. How you feeling? How you feeling? Whatever comment I was about to have on this movie just seems pointless now, or seems very trivial. Same for Wolverine's mask. Yes. Or for Vulture because I was using it to sell. Yeah, I know there was a storyline part of it, but yeah. I understand there was a story point. I'm not complaining about it. I mean, I still liked the movie. I'm just pointing out that it, it was a perfectly suitable origin for the Mandarin, and it wasn't necessary for Vulture. Yeah, it was a good story, but in and of itself, but it's just like it kind of canceled off lines for other things. My comment was just going to be, I really like the blonde girl in the scene. No, because I'm not a fan of that one plays with action. Alright, you guys, don't make me put you on timeout. Both of you knock it off. Okay, you're both even now. Enough. And on the end, come on, you guys aren't Arthur Pryor. You know that's who you guys got to attack. The end of the prison scene, I think it was Scorpion. Yes. Then again, if anyone knows me, you shouldn't be surprised I like the blonde girl in that scene. Alright. Hour and 10 left. I thought I'd be okay, but I am like really wanting food at this point. I got like really hungry relatively quickly. Batman being the playboy again. Yeah, pretending. Putting on the mask. This is the Bruce Wayne mask, which I like. Thank you for the thumbs up. Apparently I've angered people with the thumbs down. So please counteract those people, because for some reason this is not going very well in my favor. Going to grab it. I get done, just want to run to the kitchen. Yeah, don't blame you. Enjoy, buddy. Notice something Dave Barry is striking. Yeah, it's okay, just let it go. Both of you, like I said, that's why I said both of you. No, yeah. That's why I said both. But don't retaliate. Let it go. But yes, double I notice. I know. Can't stop talking like Steve Austin now. What? Can't stop talking like Steve Austin. What? Gonna go grab beer. What? Get done, just run to the kitchen. What? Yeah. I am glad that the what chant has finally subsided. I think that is definitely something that needed to go. Cillian Murphy auditioned for Batman. Barry Christian Bale, not even close. I mean, Cillian Murphy looks like Robert Pattinson might give him a hard time. Bale's great, because I just want a Batman that looks like he can, beat wholesale ass. Which Christian Bale, especially in this movie, because he slims down in the next one. I liked him better in this one, where I thought he had the right amount of mass. What are your top 3 rogues galleries? Mine are Batman 1, Spider-Man 2, and The Flash. Replace 3 with the X-Men, and that would be mine. But the same thing, Batman 1, Spider-Man 2, and X-Men 3. But then again, not surprising we have very similar tastes, because we typically do. I am the man who assigns. Yeah, I know, buddy. Both of you stop. See, Double A, you were doing fine, but then you brought it up again. Overrules a reply. Don't feel the need to retaliate. If one of you says something, just ignore it. But thank you for help countering the thumbs down, because I don't know who's putting it there. Who did I anger? I never noticed, but that baby in the high chair looks nothing like his son does in the next movie, so I suppose that's the girl that we don't get a good view of. And here's a weird, so here's a weird thing. His wife is Barbara. Not a lot of times you get a woman named after a daughter named after her mom. I mean, a junior would still technically be a junior. Though it's also interesting in some continuities, Barbara is actually Gordon's niece, and sometimes adopted daughter, and sometimes niece who becomes an adopted daughter. So weird. Uh, okay, I should have specified solo heroes. Oh, solo heroes. Flash is a good candidate, but I still got to go with Soups on that one, I think. And it's also weird because does Wolverine count? Because if that's true, then I'm gonna go. Can we still count Wolverine as a solo hero? Like, I mean, if we exclude the X-Men villains, like, because I do like Wolverine and Magneto, but if we want to say like exclude them, Wolverine still got a solid Rose Gallery with Lady Deathstrike, Omega Red, Sabretooth. He still has a solid one too. So I'm not even. So I might put Wolverine in the mix as well. But Soups has got a solid Rose Gallery that I like. Again, Lex Luthor fan that I am, kind of carries it. Overall favorite rogues, no pun intended. In all comics, yeah. X-Men have a really strong roster. I still like Batman's more. I think Batman villains are more fun, and Spider-Man's too. Yeah, I know, Ben. I don't know what happened. I don't know who put them there and why they won't go away. This Wolverine has his own separate roads. Yeah, I might put Wolverine in third spot. Like Superman, I'm really just putting him there because I really like Lex. But there's also a Bizarro. I don't know, someone else. Someone else I just can't think of off the top of my head. Metallo, I guess? Yeah. No, you know what? Yeah, I'll put Wolverine in 3 then. If we're talking solo, I'll put Wolverine in 3. Regardless of whether like Magneto counts or not, because Sabretooth for sure counts. And, Sabretooth is awesome. Sabretooth has always been one of my favorite guys. Favorite bad guys. He's in my top 5 villains. And if you guys want to watch Judge Dredd 3D movie, actually pretty good. There's a Judge 3D movie. Whose rogues are in most need of an upgrade? Dick Tracy. No. I said this oftentimes, but Dick Grayson, Nightwing, he needs his own rogues gallery. He needs to have a solid one because he's like long overdue for one because that's a big part of Batman's component. And they try giving him a few like Blockbuster and all that, but they don't never really hit that chord hard, and they don't really put him and Slade. A few writers have tried, but they never really established that him and Slade are like a real serious back and forth arch enemies. And it's hard for them. Ooh, by the way, this kid who just showed up. I think he's from Game of Thrones. Some people have speculated that he is actually Jason Todd. For those of you wondering, hey, it's a promo battle between Aaron. Both of you, stop it. X-Men villain, it's Apocalypse. Yeah, and Apocalypse is a good one too. But Dick Grayson needs to have one. I don't know if it's so. If you want to say who's the most needed an upgrade, I would say Dick Grayson, Nightwing. And I was just talking about how I actually prefer him being Rick Grayson, but I still call him Dick Grayson anyway. Okay. You know what? Movie is still going. I'm still going to keep it running, but I am definitely in need for food. I was going to wait to eat between the live streams, but yeah, I am going to need something to hold me over. So, movie's still running. I'm not pausing it. I'm not going anywhere, but be right here. And if you guys can salvage this whole thumbs down problem and really help bring the likes back up, let me know. But I'll be right back.